How you doing, Internet? I'm Peanuts, and today I'd like to take a look at this little game here called Timeline, and it comes to us from Vaughan Public Libraries. What you get in this box is a simple set of instructions, as well as 110 cards, all of which look like this. They have an invention on one side of the card, and then they also have the year in which it was done on the other side of the card. And if you can already guess what the game is about, well then you're already on your way perhaps to winning a game. As you can see on the tin, the game is between 2 and 8 players from the ages 8 and up. However, it may be a game that some of the younger children may not find interesting because there's so much history involved. However, if they are interested and able to engage in it, it can be a pretty interesting game. And the game estimates it will take about 15 minutes for a single round. However, depending on whether or not the players guess right or wrong, that could be mistaken or not. So the object of the game is to try to get rid of all of your cards. And in the instructions it says that each of the players gets 4 cards, as you can see down here below. I have dealt for 4 players 4 cards each. And the object of the game will be to try to get rid of all of them. So I'm just going to make some room to play. And the way we do this is we pick a card, and we cannot see the date that it was actually done. So I have to pick one of my cards and guess whether or not it happened before or after the invention of the electric razor, which is the card that was the last one dealt up, and it was dealt into the middle. So I am going to start with the Tale of Snow White over here, and I'm going to guess that it happened before the invention of the electric razor. And now I have to check. So I will flip both cards open. So you can see here I was correct. So now I have 3 cards left in my pile. And by the way, the person to start the game is usually the one who's youngest, and then you can go around clockwise, counterclockwise if you like. Since this game involves time, I think it would be appropriate for it to be clockwise. So now the next person has to try to guess if something happened before the Tale of Snow White, between the Tale of Snow White and the invention of the electric razor, or after the invention of the electric razor. And I think that one person would choose something easy, so they're going to guess. I don't really know whether if they're flipped back. Guessing that the invention of GPS happened after the invention of the electric razor. And it happened in 1978. What's interesting about this game is that some people don't really think that, or they're not aware of when these inventions may have occurred. And the invention of GPS happening in 1978, that's a pretty interesting one. Pretty interesting fact. So let's say we've got, well, I've already demonstrated what happens when you guess right, and I want to do one that is guessing wrong, but I don't really know them myself. So I'm going to guess that the fable of the Crow and the Fox happened before the Tale of Snow White. As it happens, I was correct. So I don't get to demonstrate the wrong pick just yet. and I'm going to move these out of frame just to make more room on the timeline. Let's see. This looks like a good one. The invention of the toaster. And since it's electric, I am going to take a guess, complete guess, because I don't actually know, that it happened before the invention of the electric razor. Oh, no, I was wrong. So now I get to demonstrate what happens when you're wrong. So this goes back into the draw pile. I'm putting it there at the bottom. And then gets to draw a new card and put it in there. So besides the last player, everyone else now starts this round with 3 cards, and there are now 4 cards in the timeline and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 possible positions. And this keeps on going until one player, or at least one player, has played all of their cards, and if more than one player manages to do this, then the ones who manage to get rid of their cards gets a round to play off until you have one definitive winner. And that's basically how the game is played. So it's pretty basic in concept. However, again, I wouldn't recommend it for anyone who's not interested in history, because they may not be able to engage with the game, which I feel is an important part of the game. That you have the interest in and you're able to engage and learn something about the history, the inventions of mankind, of humanity, that perhaps you did not know before. And so this is definitely something that I would be interested in playing, because I'm something of a history buff. So this is definitely a game that I would play. As you can see, playing out the round, it became a very tight race, even though it lasted quite a while. And North and South ended up tying in the same, getting rid of all of the cards in the same round, with West and East ending up with 1 and 3 cards respectively. So a showdown would have resulted between North and South, and who knows where that would have been. But in any case, it was interesting finding out the different years where things were invented or discovered. And as you can see, some of them may not have been what you might have expected them to be. So even just on my own, that was pretty interesting. And so I would recommend this game to anyone who's history savvy or even interested in history. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it to young children. They probably wouldn't get it, and there's a fair bit of reading also involved in this game. That said, I do believe that it can be very enjoyable. And so I invite you, if you like this sort of game, to try out Timeline yourself. But that about does it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it and enjoyed watching it. You can comment below what you thought, like and subscribe to show your support, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye!